Hello and welcome to Traffic Talks. My name is Pyro and I talk about what's going on in my life, usually with a lesson I've learned, some tips and tricks you can follow that helped me, and a lot of laughs in each episode. If this sounds like something you would enjoy hearing, feel free to follow the podcast, subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and to see what I'm up to, you can check out my Instagram page linked below. Bye! Hello and welcome back to the podcast. I am in a good mood today. It is technically the 28th of Feb, so the last day of the month, meaning it is the end of the financial year for 2022 to 2023, which was from March last year until Feb this year. And the day this goes live, which is the 1st of March 2023, is the beginning of a new financial year. And being in a new decade of my life, a new financial year of my life, is weird because there's a lot of things I'm still trying to figure out in my life, and especially around finances. But yeah, that is what this episode is about, a new financial beginning. So this is just my take on what's going on. The wind is being very disrespectful right now, so it's causing a lot of background noise. So I deeply apologize for that. I hope I can filter it out, but we'll see. So on to today's episode. Also, a thank you to every person listening to this podcast, wherever you may be in the world. For those of you who don't know, I generally don't worry about the stats of it because they haven't been needed to a certain extent. I don't have sponsors. I don't track the analytics. I'm not in that space where I need to do that yet. So to me, it's not really something I'm checking every single day and I'm being very intense about. It's just, it is what it is. I happen to see it on my dashboard when I go to upload. And when I uploaded my birthday episode, I saw I have a couple new subscribers. So thank you for that. And I also have people from different parts of the world listening to me ramble on about my day. So hello. Thank you for joining me and welcome to the madness that is my life via podcast. I hope you enjoy it. So thank you. And now on to the episode. With finances, I am someone who has always been particularly good with my money. I'm the person who always has cash even if I say I'm broke, just in case I need something. Or if I'm running low on cash, I'll be like, I don't have a lot, but I've got a little bit on me and I still have some spare in case there's like an extra emergency. That's me. I've always handled my money well, and I still remember being young, unemployed and underage and people needing to borrow money from me. So I've always just been very good with my money, and one thing I am always smart about is how I break up my money. So when it comes to my salary, I earn a basic and then I also earn commission on the sales that I make for the job that I do. So I sell digital products, and the more products I sell, the more commission I make. I never make an exorbitant amount unless there's just like one random crazy order, which happens every couple of months. And luckily with this month, it was my birthday and I did get a bit of a bigger commission than usual. One of the things I always do that I learned from a YouTube channel, they also have a podcast called The Financial Confessions, is treat my commission like I don't expect it every single month. So I have a basic, I focus my budget on that basic amount, and the commission is just bonus money for whatever I need. So I always think of that as, oh, lucky, it's extra money, but it's not money I rely on every single month because you never know what might happen and you just don't make the usual commission. And like with my birthday month, February, I did make a bigger commission than normal because there was a huge order that I fulfilled. So I did get a bigger commission than usual. The YouTube channel that I follow is called The Financial Diet. They have an incredible book out, and their podcast is called The Financial Confessions. And I can't remember which specific stream I listened to where I heard it, but their one tip was to focus on your basic and use that to base your budget on, not your commission money. Treat your commission as bonus money and have a plan, but don't rely on it. Focus on your basic. So how I break my basic down is I have money that I pay towards my rent. even though I still live at home, it's money I give to my mom for my rent and my upkeep. I have a couple of accounts that I own, so I pay off those. I have a savings account at another bank, so I transfer money to that. And then I have an investment account, a savings account, and an emergency account, so money gets split and goes into that. I also have some debt that I'm paying off, so money goes towards that every month as well out of my commission. And then the rest of the money goes as spending money for my basic expenses. Because this amount varies every month, I usually just have a lump sum available to me, and those go for my basics. So if I don't use the whole amount, it rolls over to next month. And if I do need a little bit more, I will take that out of my commission money. So that's how I spend my basic. When it comes to my commission, the first thing I do with my commission is split it up. So I first add extra money to my savings, my investments, my emergency fund, all of those kinds of things, just to pad them a little bit more. And then the rest of the commission is used to basically just spend however I please. And whatever's left over for the commission money, I usually just go to paying off my debts. Yes, I do pay off a little bit first when I get my commission, but if there's a bit left over, I just simply push it towards that. So that is how I spend my basic and my commission. It's nothing crazy, it's nothing over the top, it's nothing convoluted. It's just the way that's been working for me for the past 2 years. I would say 2 to 3 years since I worked this job. Things have been much better. And the thing about a budget is it needs to be flexible. This budget works for me because I have a lot of padding in it, as I like to call it. So for example, when I pay my accounts at the beginning of the month, I have a set amount that I want to pay towards those accounts. Sometimes the accounts are already paid off and there's nothing left that I need to pay, meaning that amount of money can go towards paying off some debt, it can go towards savings. I can split it up, put a little bit in towards the debt, a little bit towards the savings, and keep a little bit for spending. Especially since last month was my birthday month, expenses were a bit hectic, but for the most part I do have a good understanding that a budget needs to be flexible, and mine is. So I'm really happy with it. So, for a budget, if you are trying to draw up one yourself, I would definitely say find someone else's example to base yours off of. With me, I love looking through Pinterest, and you can just find lists after lists of expenses, and you can find it for every type of budget or person out there. So if you're a student, you can Google student expense lists, or if you are trying to buy a home, you can find out what future home expenses you can look out for and maybe start adding a house fund or a home fund or some sort of sinking fund for that. One thing I do add in to my document that I have for my budget is a list of yearly expenses. The yearly was in quotation marks because sometimes you don't spend every single year. For example, a yearly expense that I have is my TV license. It's a guaranteed thing, it happens every year, but you pay it once off and it's like, oh, it's not in your budget every month. Like, no. So that is something you do once a year, but it's something you can easily forget to pay. So I've written it just in this expense piece of my budget. My yearly license, I buy a diary once a year, which is obvious. But this year I didn't buy a diary. So the money that I would have used for that diary can be rerouted into something else, like the license. You also have to renew your driver's license every 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a once in 5 year expense. And then also miscellaneous things that happen throughout the year that aren't maybe big ticket items like Christmas or New Year's or an anniversary or something, but they are still important and they do add extra expense. So for me, I personally have listed Easter, because I tend to buy a lot of chocolate and sweets for the fam, Mother's Day, Father's Day, and birthdays. Those are yearly expenses that come at you faster than you can even blink. Having that built into your budget is a good thing. So what I have is a separate pocket in my banking app that I just transfer a fixed amount of money to every month. And when things like my commission hit and I have a bit more, I generally add to that account, maybe like 4th or 5th, if I'm busy, dealing out the cash, because that is something that happens real quick. February is my parents' anniversary at the beginning of the month. It's my birthday at the end of the month. It is my brother's birthday the following month in March. And then it's Easter in April. So there's a lot of expenses going on real early in the year. Having that built into your budget where okay, maybe I don't have a lot saved, but I at least have something to supplement with, that is going to be a good thing. So I had to run away for a second, but I'm back. I can't remember where I was lost, but I'm just going to move on very breezily through this. So one thing I noticed in my budget of last year was that somewhere around the middle of the year, it says July, I got a raise, and I literally wrote here, I got a raise, whoop whoop. So that should just show you the excitement about that. But one thing I still did that I noticed was my basic did increase. My commission percentages also increased slightly, and not all of them increased. But because my basic increased, I nearly copy and pasted the same format of how I spent my basic previously to the basic after the raise, and it's near identical. Some of the quantities did change, like I saved a bit more towards my house, I put a bit more towards paying off my debt. I have a tax-free investment account, which I now put a little bit more to and still stay under the bracket for being tax-free and not get charged per year. So things like that is something definitely to keep in mind, especially if you do get a raise of some sort. Being able to focus on what's important in your budget, I think, is the key to having a good budget. If you are someone who enjoys spending your money, going out, having fun with your money, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That just means more of your core expenses of your budget are gonna be focused. So you are gonna have to focus on minimizing your expenses per month in terms of being able to cover your basic needs so that you can spend it on your outings and your evenings and just going out and having a fun time. And I did notice I also spent a certain amount of money each month from my basic, and I titled it Fun Money just because I realized I haven't been living life to the fullest, and having money every single month for that purpose without stressing that it's going to impact my entire financial future is a nice thing, which is why I generally pad my different accounts and things like that. I think that is the best thing for me. Like I said, this is something that is very personal to you as an individual, and if you are in any type of financial situation that includes another person or people, if you are someone with a family, that is something you need to take into account, because children are expensive, and the worst thing about it is schools throw fundraisers at you when you least expect it at the worst possible time. I remember my sister being in school and just randomly she'd be like, oh, can I get 5 rand? It's fundraising day for whatever. And I'm just like, didn't you just have one like 2 weeks ago? And she's like, yeah, but it's another one. And I'm just like, okay, great. Or they'd have a day where they need to do a market or have a cake sale or just something random, and now it's either you have to stay up late baking for this freaking thing, or you have to go out and buy cakes or something of that nature, and it's just terrible. So plan for the unexpected and tweak it as you go along, because that is the best thing for you. I've had to adapt my savings pockets. I know FNB does have saving pockets, and Nedbank that I'm with has saving pockets. You can actually name each pocket after the savings goal you want. It helps you set trackers, so you can say, okay, I want to buy whatever it is in this amount of time, and it tells you how much you'll need to save every month. You can set up auto saving functions for those things. So take advantage of everything you can, and also shop around. Nothing is ever as in your face as you think it is. Try and figure it out through a lot of trial and error, but also the internet is your friend. You can compare a lot of prices online, and one of the things I found is read all the details, because I was considering getting a Woolworths credit card at one point, and I'm like, oh, this is great. And then I read the fine print and I'm like, oh no, this is not great. Like, it's gonna be too much of an expense to have something for expenses. So I'm just like, no, let me not do that. So shop around, find out what's best for you, and be careful with making debt in this day and age. There are certain kinds of debt that is really, really good. I'm reading a book called Money, a User's Guide, and it is the best thing ever. One of the tips they actually say is don't be too scared of short-term debt. So credit card debt of 6 months, if you can show you are paying it off, it generally doesn't count against you. So don't be afraid to make a big ticket purchase, put it on a credit card and be able to pay it off. Don't make unnecessary debt. Like, don't do that. But yeah, shop around for what works best for you. The budget that I have is always a work in progress, because sometimes you'll find something and just be like, oh, I didn't know. This is such a big expense. Maybe I should plan for it better. Or if you have something coming up, like your friends are dating and it's just like, someone's gonna get engaged somewhere. Maybe let me just start like a wedding budget fund. Just in case, you might have a dress you can just dry clean. You might have a pair of shoes you can borrow from someone. But like that one thing you're gonna need, you're gonna have to buy yourself. So look around you, see what you need and make a plan to budget for it, and then go after the things you want as a big ticket purchase, whichever way suits you. So if saving up and buying it is the best thing, do that. If paying it off on a credit card is best for you, do that. Like, figure out what you want and then go for it, because life is too short to be miserable. Being broke is fine, being miserable is fine. Being broke and miserable at the same time, like, just no. Don't do that to you. Don't do that to everyone around you. But yeah, that is me. That is my budget. That is how I spend my money. I don't give amounts, as you would have heard, just because I like to keep that a bit close to the chest. But yeah, that is how I break down my spending. If you want something more in depth, let me know, because this is something I could talk about for days. But yeah, if you are looking for good financial advice, I would definitely say check out the Financial Diet on YouTube. They are brilliant. They are not sponsoring this episode. They are just someone, or rather a channel, that I've learned so much from. If you do want a better breakdown of expenses and stuff, I would definitely say check out someone called Zoe Pritchett. She is a Canadian YouTuber and she goes in depth, like exact dollar amounts, and she's just very, very wise. And the thing is, it's very relatable because she always speaks from where she is in life. So I think she's someone you should definitely check out. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on finances. I think I want to do another episode maybe in about 6 months. Just a bit of a follow-up to this, because I think this laid a foundation that I'm okay with. It wasn't great, but it is what it is. That's it for me. The song of this week is an oldie but a goodie. It is Money, Money, Money by ABBA. And if there was ever a more appropriate song for an episode, I'll probably put it in the next money one. So yeah, that's it for me. Keep being a better being, or in this case, a better financial being. And I will see you in next week's episode. Love you. Bye.